Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I am Angie Pascotto, joined today by Ted Ings. Ted, we have quite an exciting panel today.
We do. We have some of the great retail names in our industry. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, starting with Kaylee, and we'll go right down the line.
Kaylee Felio, Sales and Marketing Director at PartsEdge.
Ed Roberts, COO of Bozard Ford Lincoln in sunny St. Augustine, Florida.
Maureen Martin, Vice President of Strategic Alliances for Dynatron Software.
Marcus Wanaberg, Technician, Naples Luxury Imports at the beautiful Paradise Coast, Naples, Florida.
You know, Maureen, a lot of what we're talking about today at Fixed Operations here at Reynolds Amplify is about the technicians, parts, everyone working together, no longer having silos. That's been a discussion for a while, but what are you seeing in the industry?
I have to say, it all starts with culture, right? And so we create that culture in fixed operations that together we all succeed, right? So we can't do it without parts. We can't do it without our service advisors, our technicians. And now we're adding technology and we're adding mobile service and those type of things. So what we're seeing across the country in about 4,300 dealers is when a dealership comes together in that culture, the entire team levels up. And that's really where you see their excellence. And it results in their financial statement and their ability to attract fantastic technicians and team members to their team.
Did I hear you say 4,300 retailers? Is that Dynatron Software?
Yes. We have the privilege in our Dynatron family.
Wow.
So congratulations to you and Les and the team and all that you've built and continue to build.
Well, thank you for that. We appreciate it. We love being a part of the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This is our jam, so we love it.
Ed, she mentioned culture, okay? And that's directly in your wheelhouse.
It is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. No, ultimately, removing silos is about sharing the vision with everyone so that everyone understands how each department really feeds each other. We don't have to fight each other. We have to feed each other. We take care of each other. Everybody understands the direction that we're going in. It all comes together. And then when you go out and you bring in an element like mobile service or pickup and delivery, then everyone sees the value of what that does. In a silo mentality, you got others worrying about, well, now they're doing all the work out in the field. We're not going to have any work here to do. And so you have to share that vision widespread to keep those silos down and to support each other and let each other know how they bring a valued piece to the team.
And Kaylee, congratulations to you also at PartsEdge, because you have really shown the light on parts and the importance where it did not get a lot of attention until Kaylee Felio came along.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really do feel like the dealerships are really focusing and actually treating their parts departments like a profit center. It's really shifted in the last couple of years, and it's such a valuable department at the dealership.
Marco, what are you seeing as time has gone on now? When this Fixed Ops Roundtable started, I think 6-7 years ago.
Oh, God. Let's just say that I think that because the roundtable and everybody on it, from parts to GMs, from vendors to everyone in between, including technicians, that I really feel like, talk about breaking open a silo. We have broken the walls around the whole department, from parts to technicians to advisors to everything. There's been so much information brought to the forefront and so much information, not just like, how can we make things better, but the culture, how do we all work together, and what is actually going on in the fixed ops department.
Yeah.
And it ends up that we're actually quite a human enterprise, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus, speaking of technicians, so that is one of the topics that is hot on dealers' minds all across the board, is the technician shortage. So from your perspective, what's a piece of advice that you would give someone up and coming that might be interested in that as a profession?
I would say that as long as things are moving, technicians will always have a paycheck.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's electric, flying cars, the cars that we have now, diesels, gas, it doesn't matter. What you should do is be humble, be thirsty for knowledge, always. Be quiet, ask the right questions, pay attention to your master technicians. Don't be running on these tool trucks for no reasons. Look what they have in their toolbox. If you want to know what to get, look at the toolbox of a seasoned technician, see what they have. But most of all, stay humble. Check your ego at the door and learn to work as a team member. That's what you need to do. Don't be a water drop. Be part of a waterfall.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Ed, I'm curious to know your perspective on this as well.
So it's a two-way street, and what you just described describes the perfect candidate.
Right.
Now, with that, on our side, on the other side of the street, we have to provide the elements for that person to be able to learn.
Absolutely.
If they're hungry to learn, we got to provide those elements. And I think that's where the true shortage comes from, Angie, is we don't have enough of us dealers out there setting the platform for these guys to be able to train and learn how to be technicians. The desire, there's always going to be car people. The desire for people to work on cars are there. They just don't have the path to travel down to learn how to become that technician and make that their career. And when you provide those paths, you don't necessarily have a shortage of technicians.
You know, Ted, that reminds me when we were at Northwood University. You know, we had a privilege of having all of these students at fuel camp. And what I took away from that and have been sharing in the industry is that we've got to really get to them, but not only them, but their parents, for them to really see what an incredible industry the automotive industry is and what a technician really does. And the options now, think about it. You have different technicians that are going to be mainlined in the shop versus mobile service. But I really took away from that is, how do we get more engaged as an industry in the high school level, in the college level? And so we're seeing that in our dealers where they're really actively taking it. But once they get there, as Ed and Mark had said, we've got to have the tools and the culture and the people to support them on that journey. But that was a huge takeaway from me at Northwood.
And it is a career path, isn't it?
It's absolutely a career path, and we have to make sure we're providing that platform. And if we do it, you'd be surprised at the talent that's out there and the people that are humble and want to learn, knowing that you have a path for them.
Absolutely.
And not to pull from techs, but I've met so many parts people that were techs because they started in that path, but then discovered that they had a passion for parts and that whole analytical side of things. So I think there's so many paths you can, just showing the paths that there's available is important.
Well, the key with having development programs is you can learn about that person and learn where their strengths are. And then when you learn who they are as a person, you can guide them down the right path so they end up in the right spot that fulfills them in their career rather than just becomes a job for them.
One of the things I like about what PartsEdge has done, you've put a focus on the person in parts. You've talked about them learning, reading books, if you recall. We've had a lot of panels with you on doing things like that, self-education, to really develop the person. And then I know over the years, you and I have seen a lot of the people, you know, move up throughout the dealership where they started off, you know, as a parts picker or a runner, and, you know, now they're running the parts department or the fixed ops director. In some cases, they're now the general manager of the dealer. Do you want to speak to that? Because you've helped provide a focus on that.
Oh, thanks. I feel that was one of the things that I heard the most was just the lack of education out there for parts managers, parts people and our focus is inventory control and management. So that's really where we focus and educate and provide as much as we can, doing monthly webinars, podcasting, just being a resource for the parts people. Because they are such a they're really an asset manager if you really look at how they're managing the inventory and pulled in so many different directions of all the departments. So, yeah, I think that's,
You know, when we have our executive workshop, to see a GM, a service director, and a parts manager together leave from there with an action plan of tangible things we're going to do, that's where the powerhouse comes in, right? We've talked a lot about also the importance of variable and fixed working together. And we heard on our panel this morning here that they talked about the fact that, you know, service advisors sell more customers in a day than any department. So when you think about it, how do we help them and give them those tools to be able to do it?
Marco, thinking back a few years ago, I can't believe all that's come of this conversation and things that we're talking about now that you and I didn't even fathom a couple years ago.
Absolutely not. When we're kicking around the idea about this and then had the first one in your office in the Secret Building in New York City to 2019, to what it has become and what each and every one of us that are on these panels and at these pop-ups bring to the industry and how we've become the faces of the progress that we've really fostered throughout all of this. It's been fantastic. And like you said, if you would have asked either one of us 6 years ago, like, hey, where do you think this is going? We would have been like, once or twice, you know, but look at us now, Ted.
Well, congratulations to everybody up here for all that you do for the industry, in particular fixed ops. I'm Ted Ings here with Angie Pascotto. We're here today at the Reynolds and Reynolds Amplify event, the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Angie and I are going to be right back.